Oh, yes.
I didn't notice anything new.
We're at the very end. It's the time warp at the end, taking the ship back to the World War II. You got to pay attention here.
I thought I was paying attention.
As we celebrate the worst movies ever rated
here.
Oh,
okay. Yeah, okay. I didn't see it. I'm sorry.
It was totally in there. Episode 167 of the EriDan Film Festival. Double feature night beginning of September.
222.
Beyond the horizon. I can see fall cresting the horizon and coming towards us.
What's the weather like there in Pennsylvania?
It is hot and humid and unpleasant. It's sort of like a dragon's armpit, if you can imagine such a thing.
It was chilly this morning, and now it is 60 something.
Yeah, we are like
65.
At the moment it is 85, and that's at 8 o'clock at night.
Wow,
down to 85 degrees. So it's going to be hot. It's going to be in the 90s for the next couple of days. We're not. I know there are places that are worse, but I'm super whiny, and I don't like it when it's hot. My house is a crisp 68.
Wow, it's warmer in your house than it is outside here.
Well, come here, get toasty. It is another night for us to gather together with friends and foes to discuss movies.
Who are the foes?
Well, let's find out.
All right.
I don't know. Anybody who says anything different than what I think.
All right. Well, if you want to be a guest, go to EriDanLive.com. It's that simple.
It is so simple. A child. And tonight, double features. And we know it's Labor Day. We understand. But, it's getting dark. Probably already made some s'mores. Forget about all that. You have work tomorrow. You shouldn't be focusing on vacation.
Yeah, Labor Day. I did stuff on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday this weekend. Nothing today.
There you go. Lots of laboring. It is now time to relax and talk about Dungeons and Dragons, Honor Among Thieves, and Top Gun Maverick sequel night, I guess, in a way. Although there was a Dungeons and Dragons from 2000, so this is not a sequel. But I think it's interesting that they've already given, like, Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves, because they know they're going to make more of these.
Yeah.
They were preparing ahead. So, and speaking of people who prepared ahead, we already have people waiting to join us.
Yeah.
Let's drag some people into this thing, shall we? Yeah. Talk to me, Goose. Least favorite line in the movie, and it's in there 4 times. Wade and Stacy bringing us our movies tonight.
Yeah.
Tonight's movie is brought to you by Wade.
By Wade and the letter K.
Available at finer stores everywhere.
Well, okay.
Just gonna try to make it. But...
Speaking of finer stores.
I'm sorry, Dave. This conversation can serve no purpose anymore.
Wow. Go.
How's it going?
There we go.
Quad tonight to talk about these movies.
I will say your talk to me Goose line. You know what it reminded me of? I still remember this hysterically years later when they did the very first Leave It to Beaver reunion movie, TV movie. Hugh Beaumont had already died, but Barbara Billingsley was still alive. So June Cleaver was alive, Ward was dead, and of course the other kids were still alive, and they had a scene where they had June Cleaver at the gravestone of Ward Cleaver going, "Ward, I'm worried about the beaver."
Oh my God!
Yes.
I just lost it.
My mind's eye.
I lost it.
Well, I have a Mandela issue, a Mandela effect, because I saw somebody posted a picture of Sebastian Bach is in, he might have been in Pittsburgh at one of the Comic Con type things, or in Ohio somewhere, and he's with Jerry Mathers. I'm like, didn't Jerry Mathers just die?
No.
And no, he didn't.
No,
But
Tony Dow did.
Tony Dow did, but I had Jerry Mathers in the audience one time when I was
Dan
doing
thinks
stand-up.
everybody's dead.
All right.
He's very negative that way.
All right, I'm sorry.
EriDan, I thought Eric was dead.
What?
Who's that blonde guy?
He's that blonde guy. Well, it's Brian. Hey, it is Brian.
I am a blonde guy.
With great power comes great responsibility.
You know, 8 times more hair than I have.
I have some right here.
A little more than 8
I have
times.
some way back here.
More right here.
Eric's hair and my hair are very similar. They're both old Jews. They retired to the South. Thank you.
Wow.
Kept going down, 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 down.
Okay, then.
Very hairy.
But on that note, there's no transition that would possibly work to bring in Amanda, so I'm just going to do it. All right, there she is. How are you?
Pretty good.
We have half a dozen. Here we go.
Yeah.
So I think we have got as many people as we're at least going to start out. But Wade, which one of your 2 movie choices do you think we should start with?
I think Dungeons and Dragons.
Dungeons and Dragons. All right. Here we go from 2023 all the way back in 2023.
Yeah.
Chris Pine, Michelle Rodriguez, and a bunch of other people.
Hugh Grant.
It took 3 people to write this movie and 2 people to direct it. $150 million budget. $208 is all they made. $208 million they made. Critics at a 91, audience at a 93. Pretty popular on the Rotten Tomatoes. Wade.
And deservedly so.
Yeah. Why Dungeons and Dragons, Wade?
Well, I wasn't really eager to watch this movie, and so when it was on streaming on Disney Plus, I decided to watch it, and I didn't know that much about the game or anything. So, but it was a good movie, and it kind of gave you a good background, so you knew what was going on.
Yeah, I agree. This movie had no business being as good as it is.
Yeah, exactly.
And it had no business not doing better at the box office either. I'm really surprised this movie did not do better.
Yeah.
Well, I think a lot of it is that people didn't expect it to be.
Right, yeah. You make assumptions that it's not going to be good.
Yeah.
But it's really entertaining. And anybody I've talked to who has watched it since it's been available on streaming loves it.
Yeah.
Like, but I think
it's the same. It's the same directing and writing team and at least directing team. I'm not sure what writing. Goldstein and Daly are a directing team, sort of like the Coen brothers. They also did another movie we watched.
They did. I don't want to say it if anybody knows.
Game Night.
Game Night, absolutely.
Yeah.
And Chris Pine, I can't look at him, and 2 things always popped in my head. One, obviously, Captain Kirk.
Yeah.
And 2, his dad on Chips.
Right.
Yeah.
I can see the resemblance now.
Yeah.
As he's aged, yeah.
Yeah, as he's aged, absolutely. I can see it, but the hair is totally different.
So
I love the way he's willing to poke fun at himself for being considered such a handsome guy, because you get him in with Zank, and he's just clearly sort of second fiddle in the room, and he just runs with it, and it is so fun the way he plays that.
This is such a well-written movie.
It is,
and it is well done across the board, but it's the writing is so clever and fun, and it's actually funny.
Yeah.
And you don't have to know anything about Dungeons and Dragons to enjoy it.
It didn't have to be a Dungeons and Dragons movie.
No.
Well, what's nice about it is that there wasn't, and this is what I'd like take issues with a lot of things like the Power Rangers movie that we watch, where it was so obvious from like a non-Power Rangers fans what things they were doing to give fan service to people who needed it. I'm sure there was fan service stuff in here, but it didn't like I can't tell you what it was. I can't tell you like, oh, this is why they had this terrible thing in there, or this bad effect, or this corny name, or whatever. It all felt like it was written for this movie and not solely to be like, oh, well, they're going to get really excited when they see X, Y, Z.
It felt like a lot of the references were mechanics and not like names of things. There were a few where they're like, oh, so-and-so from Baldur's Gate, and or like, oh, it's the Seal of Mordenkainen, or like there are a few things where they have actual, but like for the most part, it's like mechanics like attuning to equipment is a mechanic in D&D. Things like wild shaped, like all the classes are real classes in D&D. Wild shaped druids are a thing in D&D, and like all the animals that she turns into are animals. Like all the mechanics fit D&D, so like all of it feels like, yeah, I could like I've done things like that in my D&D campaigns. That fits very well. I have. I like the cantrips that he's casting that Simon's casting, where he makes like the flame on his finger, or the smell of like cut grass. It's like one of the basic cantrips that any magic class can take in D&D is called prestidigitation, which is basically make any scent that you want, make any taste like whatever. And it's like just useless basic magic, and you're like, oh yeah, he's using this like basic prestidigitation stuff, but like you don't need to know that that's where it came from.
My 5-year-old can do that.
Yeah, which is true. It's like the most basic spells you can cast. It's like I feel like a lot of the references are that sort of thing, which works really, really well, because it just kind of feels like an existing world that they got their mechanics from this game, rather than like, oh, I met with this person, you know.
And they struck a balance of a ton of humor without making it seem like they were mocking the source material at all. The humor came from the personalities and the characters and their interactions. Like when Zenka's walking away and they're going, well, is he? He's coming up to a rock. Is he gonna go? Nope, going right over it. You know, just so naturally done. It was hysterical.
Yeah, it's fantastically funny. Yeah,
it's also interesting when you look at the,
honestly, Michelle Rodriguez is just always right. Like she's your like, oh, Fast and Furious. Oh wait, a Resident Evil. You need a real, a woman who's going to be in there to be your tough person in there, and she does it so well.
Right.
But it doesn't feel like overly done or badly done in this movie. Like she's super fun in this movie too.
And the relationship between her and Edgin just felt so natural.
Yes.
It really did. And they never tried to make anything romantic about it. They never tried to. It was just natural.
Well, we should really wait till Jonathan gets here before we go any further. It's going to be really so much better if Jonathan was here.
Jonathan, yes.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the best jokes in the movie.
Yeah, I love that.
I love cutting to the woman on the left and going, Jonathan! It's such a good line read.
And then when Forge tries to use the same method at the end.
Out the window.
I mean, Hugh Grant is really delightful in this.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like excellently well cast.
He can be someone that in certain roles can be annoying. I definitely get that.
Yeah. Yep.
In this, because he's just supposed to be a charming jerk, it works.
He's good.
Absolutely.
I don't know what Dave's talking about. He's fabulous in everything I've ever seen him in.
Oh my.
There are times he's a little much.
No, I like it.
So speaking of Christopher Pine reminding you of Captain Kirk, when he was playing the lute at the end, when they were all trying to figure out how he could do the, I'm just waiting for him to sit up and say, "Okay, beam us up, Scotty," or something. We were just buying time type thing.
We watched the extras on Amanda's Blu-ray yesterday.
Oh,
and the best deleted scene was, the one dead guy that they asked, "What's your favorite book?"
Yeah.
And he just starts pontificating on. There is a 6-minute scene of the actor just going over, and then amongst the fables we have just constant, just keeps going and going and going and going, and finally goes, I I think that's all the books I've ever read. And he just collapses.
With the two like puppeteers with the arms on either side of him, just very slowly.
They could have just run that during the credits, and it would have been great.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
They should.
Yeah. That whole scene is hysterical.
He was like asking, "Hey, is anybody out there?"
Oh, and that's
another question.
And that's another one that also feels very like D&D mechanicsy. The like, why is it 3 questions? It's like, I don't know. Yeah, it feels really weird and arbitrary. But like, I have a spell that I can cast in my current campaign where if a humanoid dies near me, I can capture their soul in a cage for the next day. But I can ask them like 5 questions over the course of the next 24 hours. Like I have like a list of things I'm allowed to do with their soul. It's very specific. I have 5 things. I can ask them a yes or no question. I can like use them to cast like a spell. Like it's like, but it's this very weird mechanical. Like, why is it 5 things? I have no idea. Like it's like, but that feels very fitting with D&D mechanics.
And I felt that even though neither one of us have played that, I've heard enough about it from students over the past few years, and that you just kind of get it, what it's kind of like. So that seemed a little obvious to me, even though I've never played. So I thought that I could see that there.
The one line where Holger goes, basically Forge is a son of a bitch, and Zank goes, so you're saying his mother is to blame for his corruption? there is a scene on the gag reel where she says, it seems like it was accident, she said, basically Forge is an asshole, and then she corrects herself and goes, son of a bitch, and without missing a beat, the actor goes, so you're saying his rectum is to blame for his corruption?
That's awesome.
What's amazing is also when you look at it, took 10 years to make this movie, pretty much. Like it was in development forever with Universal and Hasbro, and then it ended up at Paramount and at Warner Brothers.
I mean, it's well set up for a sequel if they can accept.
Yeah,
it did not clobber at the box office.
Yeah.
According to the Wikipedia page, someone had said that they would consider it if they could do it with a lower budget, just because this was fairly expensive, and it didn't make up.
And it does look good. It does. It's a great looking.
It does look good.
Well,
I was just worried at some point they were just going to show a group of kids sitting around a table playing.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, one of the bonus features when they were talking with the directors, one of them was saying we consciously did not want to do like it's a bunch of kids playing D&D and we like flash forward and like they get sucked into the D&D world. But that happened with a video game that I enjoy, Monster Hunter. The Monster Hunter movie came out a few years ago. I never saw it because it didn't seem good, because it was essentially like, despite this being a like fully realized world with like all these giant monsters and stuff, it was like monsters just sucked into the real world, and U.S. Marines have to like deal with these monsters.
I've seen it a couple of times.
Yeah.
Actually.
Okay. So
or like a battle carrier, aircraft carrier going back in time.
Yeah, I know. It's like no.
It's totally weird. Like never happens.
Never happens.
They had a Dungeons and Dragons cartoon that was exactly that. Like people were like sucked into the universe or whatever. Yeah. So.
There was another comment the directors made about Zank, where they were saying they sort of treated that character like he was a character who was accidentally in this movie pulled in from another much more serious movie they were making next door.
I like that.
They also showed a brief clip from, apparently before they started filming, they had a professional DM from Hasbro do a video call in and have all of the characters play like a game of D&D as they're in like movie characters, so they can get a feel for like actually playing them in D&D and kind of how they interact with each other. And they said it was actually like a really good way for them to get in character and kind of interact with each other initially.
Yeah. Simon said he was really angry when it was over. He just wanted to keep playing.
It's like, I'm doing really well.
Yeah, I think since it came on streaming so fast, it's probably one of the reasons it didn't do as
well. I'm hoping it's doing
the box office.
I'm hoping it's getting a ton of views in streaming, because that'll help push them toward the possibility of a sequel if it does really well online.
Yeah.
Well,
we're at the 20-minute mark. We got a double feature. I hate to be that guy.
Oh, you're that guy. Let's do it.
The EriDan rating bot 6000. EriDan rating 6000. EriDan now activated.
Whoa.
That didn't do it.
Whoa.
There you go.
Hey.
All right.
So I was definitely pleasantly surprised with it, and it actually how good it was and entertaining. And so overall, I'm going to give it a 98.
98.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hey, that's a lot of love.
I like that. I could watch it a few more times.
This was the second time we watched it, and the first time I did not remember a lot, and we didn't watch it that long ago. It was before Reagan left for the summer, and then when he said, I'm like, ugh. But watching it the second time, paying attention a little bit more, and I thought, well, this isn't bad. This is really, it makes sense, and catching the things that I could tell were D&D related, were game related, and kind of it made me understand D&D a little bit better, since I have never played and just listened to people talk about it, and you go, oh,
what
hi.
are you talking about?
Yeah. So, yeah. And Hugh Grant, and is always, he's always a favorite. Chris Pine he is hilarious. I find him so funny in so many things. When he was in Into the Woods,
Oh man,
I like him. He's good, and I think that was really him singing in this too. So.
I think so.
The woman who plays Holga, I did not know what she was from before, and when you said Fast and Furious, I went, oh yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. She's a toughie, and
Absolutely.
I love her character in this. I love that she loves his daughter, and this is her child in some way. Like, she's a great aunt.
She's like an adoptive mother. She really is.
But not. She is, but she's not, because she wants nothing to do with Ed Geddon in that way, and it's just not, I love that whole dynamic, and I love that they bring her back, and that brought me to tears both times I've seen it, and I forgot it this time until.
And her reaction when they brought her back was wonderful. You wasted it on me.
Exactly, and I just love that. I thought it was really good. I can see where people would be like, oh my gosh, but. Pay attention. Pay attention.
Good advice for most movies.
Yeah. Well, sometimes you just can't. Yeah. Maybe it's just me. I don't know.
Fair enough.
I'm going to give it an 89.
89.
Oh, 98.
You swap the 2
89.
numbers around. Yeah.
There you go.
Flippity flappity.
What do you say?
Oh, it's me.
Man?
Yeah, it was one of those movies that we saw it when it was in theaters, whenever month it was it came out. I'm not sure. Was that spring, early summer? Probably springtime. And we really enjoyed it. And watching it a second time relatively soon, less than 6 months later, I was surprised that I enjoyed it more the second time. It really holds up on repeated viewings. It really has that quality to it. I loved Simon's incredible self-deprecation. I mean, just talk about a character with no self-esteem whatsoever. You said I made you sad. Wait, not anything I did, just who I am. It's like, wow, and that's fair. That's it just is. And the portal sequence with the sneaking the painting onto the coach is just. I mean, it's just mind-boggling to watch, and you watch it, and they really put it together incredibly well, in a way that made sense, which is hard to do with something that wild. It held together in every way. It exceeded any expectation I had for it. The casting was pretty much pitch perfect. I can't think of a single character I would recast, which is hard to say with a cast that size. And Hugh Grant as the charming scoundrel is perfect in this. He really is. And you can see why he charms people, and yet he has no morals whatsoever. And it's just so fun to watch him in that role. And Holga is just perfect. It's just pitch perfect the way she's cast and the way she plays it. So, yeah, it's a 95 for me.
95.
Well, there you go. Amanda?
Yeah, so I think this movie's amazing. I was also going to bring up the heist because it was just impressive. It seemed very clever the way they pulled it off, and they were talking during one of the special features about how no one except for the directors understood it while they were shooting it, and they were like, I don't like half my body's gravity is going that way, and half's going that way, and I have no idea how this heist actually works, and it wasn't until they actually sent it off and actually got it put together and broken. People were like, oh, that actually. But none of the actors knew how any of that piece was fit together. All they were flipping because there's so many moving pieces, but it just is really clever. The casting was great. I liked Simon's journey of kind of gaining any amount of self-confidence, and Doric I also was really fond of. Really the whole cast. I enjoyed the this mission requires some degree of confidence that it can succeed, and he doesn't, and he's like, oh, that's fair. Their whole dynamic was very good, and I really think the humor, even though it wasn't the kids sitting around a table and then it's we see their actual characters, it's still for me at least, it still kind of has that feeling of playing D&D, just because I've never at least been in a D&D game where everyone is serious at all. You are constantly making jokes and making fun of your fellow party members, and it very much captures that camaraderie that I feel that you feel, and I feel that actually comes through really, really well. So I love this movie. I would totally watch it again whenever. I've been waffling between various high scores, but I'm going to give it a 99.
Wow.
Woo!
99.
My goodness. Wade taking a comeback after the down.
Brian.
I hated it. Garbage.
Everybody's everything. The casting's great. The story was good. Special effects were good too. I loved it. I'd watch it again for sure. I think I'm gonna go with 95 though, not 99.
Yeah. That's fair. 95 from Brian. Very nice.
Oh, trash in the movie. Oh.
I have Adam's score.
Oh.
How about you?
Should we take a poll?
Yeah, you want to?
I'm gonna say Adam gave it a 80. I'm gonna say he really liked this.
Brian?
Oh, I'm not sure. It could go either way for Adam. I think. Well, I was gonna say 50 because 50 would be high for him, anyways.
Okay,
right?
you're at 50.
Yeah,
Wade?
Well, I'll go with a 90.
All
I
right.
think he gets high once in a while when he likes something. So
I'm going to say a 45.
All right. Amanda?
60.
And Dave?
I'm going to go 70. He basically liked it, but he found Hugh Grant annoying.
Minus 30 for Hugh Grant.
So I don't know what we give as a prize, but somebody nailed it exactly.
Oh my.
Nice.
And that person is Brian.
Oh,
50.
Okay.
All right.
50. Now, I'm not sure if my mom finished that movie. I know she was still watching Top Gun when this show started, so we'll probably get a score from her on one of the two for sure. Yeah, my son went and saw this in the theater and came home, and he's not a big Dungeons and Dragons guy, but a few of his friends are, and they all liked it, even though they liked it for different reasons. So I watched it, basically knowing nothing about it. I haven't played Dungeons and Dragons since 6th grade. But like I said, it didn't have to be a Dungeons and Dragons movie. It wasn't really necessary if you don't know anything about Dungeons and Dragons.
There were Dungeons and Dragons in the movie, though.
There are Dungeons and Dragons in a lot of things.
Well, this is true.
There were also tunnels and trolls, but they didn't call it that.
Right. And they're Chris's and Pines. I think it's a pretty solid movie. Everything everybody's already said is pretty accurate. I'm going to go with a 90.
Hey, what's my score?
We can have the same score.
Oh, I want to be.
You are EriDan after all.
I know. I agree with everybody, but I think the casting is great in this. Michael, I just don't know if I love it, or I'm like, oh, I could watch that 3 times a week, right? It's no Cats. No.
Thank goodness.
It's so good. And I think a lot of the reason it's so good is because my expectations were so low.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this could be hot garbage. And but it's I like people that are in it, so let's watch it. So this was our second time, and I agree it holds up to repeat viewings. I'm just curious if in like 3 years I will remember anything about this movie. This is where I don't know.
Eric, in 3 years you won't remember anything about anything.
Who are you?
Wow.
See?
Eric's
memory's not that solid.
But yeah, so but I'm with Dan. I give it a 90. I think it's great. I think if you enjoy life, you should watch this movie, right?
So Adam only half enjoys life.
That's pretty much what I'm saying, right? If you have I think it's a fun run.
Did Adam have any commentary or just a score?
He just had the score, but he did say, I might make it in for the end of the show, depending on how long y'all go for. He's still at the fair. But if he can message, why can't he just jump on for 5 minutes?
Well, because he's got his kids with him.
Yeah. He has priorities.
You're assuming he's got his kids with him at the fair.
Well, I think that's when he said he wasn't coming. That was the reason.
Yes, he did say he was taking his kids to the fair.
Yes.
Fair enough.
So, all right, let's move on.
Fair enough. Oh.
Movie number 2. Let's see if Wade's streak continues as we talk about Top Gun Maverick. From 2022, PG-13, Tom Cruise, Miles Teller, Jennifer Connelly, John Hamm, Ed Harris, Val Kilmer. Again, it took 3 people to write this movie. But $170 million budget, $1.5 billion worldwide. They did okay. Critics at a 96, audience at a 99. Asking Wade why he chose this movie is like asking why the sun is hot. Lots of planes, lots of Top Guns. Wade, any other commentary about what made this?
Well, the one thing I did notice is
you waited 35 years for this movie.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, it worked because it's like, oh yeah, he's like at the end of his game. What's going to do now? So in the movie, after watching Final Countdown, where they had to pull up the barricade for the plane to get caught in it, again. They did it again in this movie.
But they did it once in the movie.
Yeah. No. So I waited a long time, and then it was going to come out before COVID hit, and then it was like, oh my gosh, we're going to push it back. Yeah, I didn't think it was ever going to come out, and I was kind of irritated. I wasn't even going to go watch it, and we did on the opening day.
Yeah.
Or actually before, I think we did a preview one.
Yeah, we had.
So,
a special viewing at
And how many times have you seen it now that it's been out?
So it's been 3 times. It's much better on the big screen than it is on TV.
It's not on just constant repeat in your house, I would assume.
No. In his head, yes.
Night or day.
I could watch the planes flying in to attack their target, at the end.
Mm-hmm.
On loop, probably.
On loop, all right, just those scenes.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So this was my first time watching this movie. I do remember when this came out, there were people on the internet saying it's the best movie they had ever seen.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that.
I would say it's much better than Top Gun, definitely.
It was better than Cats.
Yeah, better than Cats.
Better than Cats. I'll see it again and again.
Now they need to combine it with Cats and Top Gun together. There we go.
I hate to jump in with my controversial take, but I'll spark off the conversation with, this is such a well-executed, poorly written movie.
Yeah.
It is gorgeous. It is well cast. It is well acted. It is so thick and deep in the mud of sentimentality and trying to make you remember the old Top Gun.
We have to have our shirtless sports scene. We have to have Tom Cruise riding a motorcycle down the road. We've got to. I mean, it's just.
It is nostalgia city for Top Gun 1. And it's so tropey. It is tropey.
The great
yelled at by the
Great Balls of Fire sequence.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
Oh,
I kind of forgot about that one.
Oh man, that was painful.
That was cringy. That was really cringy.
Drug it out.
Oh, I know.
Do you remember the old movie? Let's show you some clips of the old movie.
So the thing that bothered me was, so he goes, 10 Mach 10 point something.
Right.
He's the fastest man ever. and then he goes and hops on his red old motorcycle that's like half the size of the new Ninjas. I'm like, really? Yeah.
He has no need for speed, apparently.
No. And what happened to Kelly McGillis? What are we
Who
just
cares?
Yeah.
Who cares?
Like, so did everybody understand who Penny was?
Well, they killed off Meg Ryan.
They
So.
at least had the decency to kill off Meg Ryan.
Yeah.
And Miles Teller, I just seen him before I saw the movie. I saw him in that the Making of the Godfather movie that was on Paramount Plus.
Mm-hmm.
And how he does not play Elvis in a movie is beyond me.
Really?
I think he looks just like Elvis.
Costello?
Yes, Costello.
I thought he looked a lot like Anthony Edwards.
Yeah.
I was shocked how much they made him look like he could be his kid.
Yeah.
It was pretty good.
Yeah, I give him credit for that. Yeah.
So did everybody understand who Penny was?
No, who is Penny?
So in the first movie,
we're supposed to know who Penny is.
Yeah, so in the first movie, the admiral's berating him for all the things he did bad, and
Wild
he did a
man.
flyby over an admiral's daughter, and Goose looks at him and said, "Penny Benjamin," and he's like, "So that was who it was."
Wow. Deep tracks.
You have to be really in the Top Gun to know it.
I felt like we were supposed to know, you know, but you didn't have to know.
I didn't know, but I didn't care.
Yeah,
No, I didn't care either.
I care.
That was the only reason I said you should watch the first movie, so you kind of maybe catch that.
Yeah, and everybody looks outside of Val Kilmer. Everybody looks pretty good in this movie.
Yeah.
I have the stupidest complaint about this that is not actually relevant to the movie at all, but it really bothered me for some reason that the movie is named Top Gun Maverick when Maverick is the main character, but he was also the main character in the first one, so why is this one Top Gun Maverick? Like, they're both about like, it'd be like the second movie was like Indiana Jones, archaeologist, and you're like, yeah, he was an archaeologist in the first
we knew
one, too.
that.
Why is this one especially that he's Maverick? Like, he's just,
You know,
I don't know. It
I
bothers
never
me.
even thought of that. I kept thinking it was about Rooster, but that's what I kept thinking. And I
Well, Top Gun Rooster.
Well, they would have had to give him a better call sign than Rooster then.
It didn't click. It didn't click that it wasn't. That's not what it was.
Yeah.
The first movie was actually called Top Gun Goose, and this is Top Gun Rooster.
It's all bird themed. They're gonna do Next will be Top Gun Chickadee.
Now, do we think there would be another Top Gun movie after this?
I hope not.
I hope not too. I agree. Yeah, I think this ended it well.
Yeah.
I don't think I was kind of like, why has there ever haven't been a Top Gun sequel? And
I will say, and no spoilers.
30 years was good.
Okay, this is a spoiler. I kind of hope they were going to kill him.
Yeah.
Went down. I'm like, ooh, that would be a dark ending.
Yeah.
Oh, they weren't going to do that though. I did think when they were flying the planes in, because there was the one team that they had spent much less time on than the other teams, and I'm thinking, oh, that's the red shirts. Those are the guys that are going to die on this mission, but they didn't. So
no, that was good at least. Right.
I will say, the thing that annoyed me the most about it, other than the fact that it was trying to be the first movie X years later, was the unnamed foreign threat with fifth generation fighters that we have to have a generic circle on the wing because we want to be able to sell this around the world, so we can't say anything or imply any region. It can't be Europe, it can't be Asia, it has to be generic completely. And that really neutered the feel of that threat completely. It really did.
Well, in the first movie, it was the same way. There wasn't, you had the Soviet Union then, but it wasn't. It was kind of implied, but it wasn't.
But it didn't feel as obvious in the first one. The way they just kept avoiding any mention of the country name and the unnamed fifth generation fighters. Like, how many countries have fifth generation fighters? Come on.
Well, I kept expecting when they were going over the plans to be like, many rebels died in getting us these plans.
Oh, Mark, your sister was joking about that constantly when we were watching this.
I'm like, wait, there's a ventilation shaft. Wait, we used to hit womp wraps from 12 yards when we were at the.
Yeah, because there was a lot of gotta hit the little
These
target.
people won't recognize that we're just ripping off Star Wars. And then the pilots of the unnamed countries plan were like in the black helmets.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. like from Spaceballs, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. It was. I sort of agree with Eric. It was a well-made bad movie.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it is. It's beautiful, right? It is well shot, right? It is well acted. Tom Cruise looks great. What's her face looks great. I'm sorry, I almost said Winona Ryder, and I know that's not right.
Mrs. Paul Bettany.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. I mean, everybody, it's well done, right? But boy, the source material is just
It really anchors itself completely to the first movie and refuses to move beyond it in any way.
Mm-hmm.
I will say that one benefit of having watched Final Destination shortly before it was that you're like, oh, it's like planes, but like a lot of different angles of the planes, and they're doing various
really
like
well
it makes you appreciate the planes doing lots of different things besides just like taking off. So I
don't think they used the same shot twice in this.
No, it was crazy.
And I will also say that despite the military obviously highly supporting this movie and rolling out the red carpet for the making of this movie, it really doesn't portray them in the best possible light, because so a pilot gets grounded and is able to just wander off and steal an F-18. I mean, what in the world?
Yeah,
you don't just. It's not like F-18s are sitting there on the runway ready to fly. They have to be prepared and fueled, and apparently he just walks on and goes, "I'm flying now." Oh, okay. Have fun, Maverick. It's
He's Maverick, man.
He is Maverick, man.
Well, nobody really knew that he got fired at that point when he was.
Oh, come on! The orders go on the record immediately.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I kind of like the general.
When I was
general's on his way right now, but apparently he's still 12 hours out and can't get a phone call to shut down the program.
Yeah.
So let's hurry up, because it was like daytime when they're having that conversation. He didn't take off until nighttime.
That whole setup of the admiral or general, whichever he was, I can't remember which, who was obviously dedicated to the drone program and wanted all of their experimental budget for his drone program, then it was gone, never mentioned again. It was purely a way to show that Tom Cruise is a maverick, and Tom Cruise is...
I wrote down the quote from that of, "The end is near, your kind is heading for extinction. Maybe, but not today."
And you knew. Some of the lines were so cringy. And you knew when he walked in there and they said, "No, you're just going to teach him." You knew he was going to fly lead on that mission. There was never any question.
Yeah.
The Iceman.
So the funny thing was, when this movie, before it came out, I was reading about the SR-71 pilots when they first tested the very first one. They were at the edge of the atmosphere going Mach 2, and one of their engines went out and the plane just disintegrated, which is basically what happened in this movie. And
well, they never actually say he lost the plane, though.
Yeah, the one pilot, they lost the plane, and he didn't even know until he was halfway down that he was still alive, pilot. And he landed like somewhere in Kansas, and he walked up to a gas station, and it got the same thing, like, where am I at? Earth, So it was funny, and I was just told Reagan all about that before she went and saw this movie, and she's like, I swear I saw this before, and it was taken straight from that.
What it reminded me of was Chuck Yeager in The Right Stuff.
Yeah,
when he's sort of walking across the desert, Yeah.
He stole it too. He stole it too, and they're like, "Has he got clearance?" I guess so. Yeah.
What's your clearance, Clarence?
Yeah, but that was a little bit of a different era where there's a lot of paperwork. In this era with electronic records, I can't imagine it isn't immediately noted on his record that he's grounded.
Yeah, there was. When I was in the Marines at the air station I was at in El Toro, there was a guy who was a pilot, and he discovered that he had some ear problem, and he never was going to be a military pilot, and he read up how to start at A4 and went out and stole one. He took it for a joyride around the circuit, landed it, and then he went to jail. But,
yeah, I would think so.
Must have been good, but I would have done more than a circle.
And that guy is Joe Biden. No, I'm sorry.
Loving every minute of it.
Well, we haven't had a president with any military experience since George Bush Sr., so...
Come on, Trump said the 70s were like Vietnam for him with all the women he slept with. That was his Vietnam. That was his quote.
Wow.
All the disease out there. He avoided it all, apparently.
Okay. Well, there you go. All right, are we doing this? Are we doing it? Are we ready?
Score them up.
So yeah, I agree that it was much better than the very first Top Gun.
Yeah.
Definitely had a better soundtrack to it. So. No,
I don't know.
Actually, the same sound.
No,
there was some of it in there, but it wasn't as much.
No.
Highway to the.
So as a reminder, Wade, you gave an 85 to the first time.
Well, I'll give this one. I'll give this one a 95 then. So I'll go up.
Wow, there it is. Just like that. Not that you need to compare movies, but
No.
if anybody wants their previous Top Gun score,
I already looked mine up.
I have seen this movie 2 times. The other one I've seen countless.
How do you feel about that?
Or at least been in the room when it was on.
I can't believe I dated a guy who loved it, and then I married the other guy who loved it. It's just nuts. Oh.
Maybe it's you.
Favorite movie ever.
Yeah.
Maybe I should say it's my favorite movie ever.
Maybe you remind them of Kelly McGinnis or something.
Yeah.
Ew!
Yeah.
Oh, which means she's going to get killed off and not even get a mention.
Who even knows what happened to her? It's because she was not worth it. That movie, I could not stand her. She was so. Anyway, but we're not talking about the first one really. So this one was
You
better.
give an 83 to the first one.
Okay, thank you. Because I've seen it so many times, so
Well,
I appreciate the nuance.
1 point for each time you've seen it.
I guess. Yeah,
Right,
that's
basically,
insane. Yeah. I even had to watch it for a movie class at Penn State.
So when you've seen this 86 more times, what would you score?
So this one was better, and it was basic bad writing though, but it was. I liked it better. I liked that there wasn't this whole creepy love scene. It was just like, oh, they okay, and then he's trying to get out because her daughter comes home. Okay, I thought that they did that okay. It wasn't gross. It wasn't gross like the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
They told her he was never going to leave her again, too, before that. Just like, shut up. Shut up, fall out the window.
Exactly. She's like me. Shut up, go. Yeah, I get it. No, I liked it. I liked it a lot better. I thought it was filmed really well, and because it's airplanes, what can you do wrong, I guess?
Crash.
Yeah, that's true.
You've seen Airplane.
No, actually, I haven't seen that all the way through.
What? All right.
No way.
Parts of it, but I don't remember. I remember Barbara Billingsley and Jill Welland. That's what I remember.
I speak jive.
Wow.
Anyway, so this movie, well, it has to be better than an 83 because I felt that it was. But what Eric had to say, that all the nostalgia, it wasn't as bad as it could have been, though. It really wasn't. What was the nostalgia part that they were making all sappy was Val Kilmer, was Iceman, because Val Kilmer is a mess. And so they made that a whole thing. And you know what? And I remember hating him in the first movie because he was a jagoff. So, you know, I just, whatever. But I think I'm going to give it an 87.
87.
Yeah.
Nice.
87. All right. Let's go over to Brian.
I didn't get a chance to watch it.
Right.
All right. Thank you, Brian.
You picked the right movie, Brian. If you're only going to watch one, you picked the right one.
Yeah, you definitely did.
Yep.
So I had not seen the first one. I did read the plot summary on Wikipedia beforehand and looked up like pictures of some of the main characters, so I knew what like Goose looked like ahead of time. So I at least like understood the.
That's probably all you needed.
I was like, he seems like an important character. I'm going to see like a picture of what he looks like. I was like, oh, okay, that he has this mustache. Cool. So I recognized him in like flashbacks and stuff. Like, so I didn't feel like I was missing much plot wise, but I also didn't get any of the like subtler like references of like shots matching up. But I got like the story context. So like on the one hand, there wasn't the like, oh, it's like corny nostalgia, but there also wasn't the like positive nostalgia either. So I'm not sure which way that goes. But this, I mean, I pretty much agreed with the discussion that I thought it. I mean, technically, it was very well made. It's just the writing was extremely corny and over the top, and it wasn't a story that even interested me, even if it were a better written version of that story. Like the airplane shots were cool, because I didn't find the characters particularly likable, and because Maverick ended up like stealing all the like spotlight at the end, the other characters like get to grow really like the takeaway was still like, I mean, sure, they bonded and got together, but it was really all like Tom Cruise doing the heavy lifting. So like, I mean, and it's the title of the movie, so like that's why it's not Tom Cruise Maverick. Top Gun Maverick.
Tom Cruise Maverick.
You should have called it Top Gun Cruise.
Yeah.
Tom Gun.
Yeah, so I mean, ultimately, it was like, it wasn't an offensive movie. It didn't bother me having it on. I just didn't particularly enjoy it, and there were a lot of moments where I was like, "Oh, really?" So it was fine. I'm gonna give it a 70.
70. All right.
And that makes sense.
My mom,
there we go.
She did watch this one. She'll give this one an 86.
86.
What Amanda was saying though too about the characters, how they just didn't develop them, and in the old movie you knew who Iceman was, you knew who the other guys were whose names I don't remember, but you knew who those people were, and you knew what part they had to play against Tom or for him or whatever. Maverick,
like Bob.
Yeah, I loved Bob. He's the only one whose name I remember besides
more of Bob.
Brewster. And I don't even remember the girl's name.
Phoenix.
No, me neither. Yeah, like
because
I feel like it would have been
because
better.
she's a bird. Get it?
I feel like it would have been better if he had like not gone on the mission with them, because then like it would have had to been like they would have had to like remember, or like he could have even been on like the comms with them and like could have been coaching them. But if they were the ones who actually did the heroic stuff, it would show like, look, he's passing on to the next generation.
Right.
He's like a good teacher. It's like, no, he still needs to steal all the spotlight.
No.
It's like they're not actually.
This is Tom Cruise Maverick. You have to have him.
It's Tom Cruise Maverick.
Tom Cruise. This is Top Gun Cruise Control.
Yeah.
It's that's what they should have called it.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was not a bad movie. I was watching it with Amanda on one side and Margaret on the other. Margaret's making constant Star Wars references. And Amanda is constantly talking about, this is a terrible plan. This plan is awful. This makes no sense. What a terrible plan. That's just what I'm hearing out of each ear as I'm watching this.
I love that.
It was way too risky for how low the threat seemed to actually be.
Oh, and now we've got to pull it up a week. Oh.
Yes,
it was so cliched. I mean, we've talked before.
Done once, therefore we should totally go ahead with this plan. It's a great idea. Anyway,
we've talked before about you can make a predictable movie and still have it be a very good movie if it's really well made. This is a very predictable movie that fell a bit short. I mean, even I'm sitting there at the end going, you know, they're doing all this stuff, and I'm sitting there going. When they have that final fighter that's flying against them, and it looks like they're gonna. It's like, okay, well, no, he's fun because Hangman's going to come in and save them because Hangman has to have his redemption moment, and poof, here comes Hangman. You know, it was really paint by numbers movie making.
Yeah.
Very skillfully made. Most of the performances were pretty good. Tom Cruise was okay. I mean, he wasn't great. He's what he is. I mean, he's Tom Cruise. He plays Tom Cruise whenever he's in a movie, pretty much. He's one of those kind of guys. You know, like John Wayne was pretty much always John Wayne, which when you get him in the perfect role, works.
Yeah.
But he's always sort of the same character, and there's Tom Cruise has a bit of that. What's that?
Yeah.
He's the anti-Tom Hanks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, Tom Hanks is still Tom Hanks.
No.
But Hanks can play. I mean, Hanks can play Philadelphia and Forrest Gump, and you know, it's
and Sully, and
But lately, he's turned into Tom Hanks being an old guy.
It is because he's older. So yeah, I agree. He's not as versatile as he used to be.
Yeah.
But again, I didn't hate the movie. I just felt that the unnamed foreign nation and the constant nostalgia for the first movie just got to be a drag at times. And it has to pull it down for me as not being as good as the first movie because it leans so heavily on the first movie. So even though it was perhaps a more skillfully made movie than the first one, it had less originality than the first one, and the original wasn't very original to begin with. So I gave the first one a 70, so this one's coming in at a 65.
Ooh.
All right.
The other way.
Wow.
Interesting.
Eric, what did I give this one?
Let me check the records. Why don't you give Adam's score?
Let's guess. Okay, let's play guess Adam's score.
I'm going to say a 20.
You gave the previous one a 75.
Right. So wait, Stacy says a 20. Brian?
I'm not even sure. I don't know.
Yeah, Brian didn't see the movie, so it's hard for him.
That's a good point.
All right, that's true. Wade,
Yeah.
what do you think Adam gave it?
I'll say 25.
All right, Dave.
5.
Oh, Amanda. We're guessing Adam's score.
Yeah, I'm not sure. 10?
Ooh.
Oh, Eric.
I was gonna say 10, but I guess I'll say 9.
All right, no one was even close.
Oh, does he love this movie?
They didn't love it. He gave it a 35.
Oh, okay.
Well,
Wow.
I did think maybe a 30, but then I went lower.
He's 35 times better than Cats.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, Dan, you gave Top Gun a 75.
A 75? That's about exactly where I thought it would be, because I think this is a solid 70. It's about 5 lower than the original.
That was my take, about 5 lower than the first movie.
Yeah, and I liked going to see this in the theater. It's much better in the theater than it is on a smaller screen.
I'm sure.
It was
Yeah, that's all. I mean, it's so just the fact that it was delayed for so long.
Yeah.
Because
and I think that's part of
COVID.
why it got such a huge audience score on Rotten Tomatoes is it was pent up demand, people just waiting to see it, and it was the first blockbuster post COVID.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Speaking of post COVID,
hey, personally, I like this better than the first one. I didn't think the first one held up. I do think it's a beautiful movie. I get why the people who love it. It's not made for me, and it's got a lot of problems. But for me, I think I gave the last one a 68. I'm giving this one a 73. I'm adding 5 to this one.
you went the other way.
Yeah, I did. I went the other way. There were problems in the first movie that felt a little icky. And this
not enough problems to keep from using the theme song constantly when you're introducing.
Well, no, of course not. You got to use what you got, right, to get that nostalgia flowing. So Brittany jumped in. She did not have a score for this movie, but she did have a score for Dungeons and Dragons of 96. Good help, Dungeons and Dragons.
Excuse me.
I think this might be a first column movie for Dungeons and Dragons.
Hold on, what do we have here?
Dragons, absolutely. Look at this
memorabilia from the first.
Ooh,
whoa,
very nice.
Merch. Love it. All right, Dungeons and Dragons coming in solid. Look at this.
Yeah.
Very nice.
First column, just inching out the Prisoner of Azkaban. Nice showing for Dungeons and Dragons. Shockingly, you have to go down 2 pages to get to Top Gun Maverick.
Oh, right above
It's right above Top Gun.
It's
But it inched out.
so good.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
That's funny.
I love it.
5.07. It inched out Top Gun. 0.07.
Well, it was better than Top Gun.
So there you go.
It was officially better than Top Gun.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Cool.
Controversial? Maybe.
Yeah, that's cool.
Controversy, Eric. Controversy.
Funny.
A travesty, you believe?
No, controversy.
No. Well, what do I know? So there we go. 2 movies down. Thank you, Wade, for such amazing choices. And fun. Those are fun.
Yeah. 2 good movies.
So Dan, you said your mother is available. Does she want to be on the wheel? Do we know?
She should be watching. Mom, would you like to be on the wheel?
Want to do a movie for next week? Maybe? Well,
by the way, I would love to switch it to only stream this on YouTube on my channel for a little while. I need to get up to 4,000 hours because I have the.
But our Facebook audience is so.
Right now, we've got 1 Facebook person, and they're not on Facebook.
We got 2 thumbs up on Facebook today.
All right, that's true.
I don't know.
And then we've got 1 on Twitch right now. It's a very small audience on Twitch. But I'd like to consolidate our audience to like one place so we can actually build maybe and get like an actual.
Well, you are actually just killing off the audience.
That might be true.
Are people really going to hunt us and find us?
The audience is dying off.
I am going to stop. I am going to stop putting us on Twitter, formerly known as X.
X.
What the hell it is.
X.
The X-Files.
All right. Well, while we wait for Dan's mom, I'll play this.
You can tell that was one of your earlier videos, Eric.
That's one of the first ones. That's an original. All right. So, Dan, we haven't heard from your mother. What are we doing?
I'm waiting. Wait, she read.
Right,
she read the text.
We got a minute. I'm just anxious. I want to spin. I want to know who gets
anxious. Did you say stanxious?
What's the wheel look like, Eric?
Well,
show us the wheel
yet because I can't paste the names on unless I know I'm putting Dan's mother in. That's what I'm waiting. I'm waiting to paste the names in.
Yes, she would like to be on the wheel.
All right.
Perfect. There we go. All right. I've got. So I would say that Dan's mother, Dan, and myself probably have the largest number of spaces on the wheel.
Which means we won't get picked this week.
That's correct.
Yep. It'll be Stacy.
It'll probably be Stacy.
Stacy or Reagan.
Or Wade. It's always
Reagan's not here, though.
Yeah, Reagan should be on the wheel. So
I'm shuffling.
Every time he's shuffling.
All right, here we go. Let's do this.
Anyway.
Let's see who's going to be picking our movie for September 11th.
We're still black and white.
Well, if it's a 9/11 movie,
taking a long time, and it's going to nice.
Respin.
Oh, it has.
It's yours. You haven't picked one in a while, have
you? I've picked 2 movies in the last couple of months.
All right, are we resetting? We're gonna spin it again.
I picked. Let's see. I picked The Odd Couple, and then a month before that, I picked Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
You had 4 whole spaces on the wheel. All right, I'm shuffling again.
Yeah, respin. I'm fine. If I come up again, I'll take it.
All right,
there we go. With the fates point to Dave twice.
He took a mulligan.
What are the chances? Whoa, and now it's just glittery.
It was not expecting to have to go again. It's
exhausting. And it's gonna be Dan. How about that? It's been quite some time.
Yeah.
Since Dan's.
I picked the TV show.
You did?
I
Not
picked,
this month, but yes.
Well, last month I picked News Radio.
That is correct. Now
All right, give me a moment. I've got a few ideas, but
all right.
For TV show, I thought you'd pick The Time Tunnel or.
Oh man! All right. So while Dan is thinking about his movie choice for next week, we will talk about what else you've been watching.
Here we go, second switch. It's working. It's gonna work. I can feel it, Paul. What have you done? It's working. It's working. Feeling strange. You're looking strange. It's working. It's working.
We didn't hear what happened though.
You know what's crazy?
Tune in next week.
That's the notebook I found out of the blue for the Time Agency that I wrote this whole script that I don't even remember writing.
That was Dan's time travel.
That was the first
from Dan's time travel movie.
That was the very first version of it.
That's funny.
I'm feeling.
What was with the killer bee antennas on there?
Yeah, you needed those.
It was
the funny thing was
time travel magic.
If I'm not mistaken, was that the Cars music was playing?
That's correct. That is the beginning of Cars Heartbeat City, the album, I believe, set on a lower speed.
And then it flashed, and I was standing there, and you came out of the closet.
That's correct.
Finally.
Nice. All right.
Speaking of Tom Cruise.
Oh, Dave, have you been watching some Tom Cruise movies?
No, just coming out of the closet.
I watched some movies yesterday. I watched 3 movies yesterday. One of them was Dungeons and Dragons, but I watched 2 other movies. One of which I'm not sure I recommend. If you're a huge Billy Crystal fan, this is a movie that it's a stand-up routine live one-man show that he did in 2014 called 700 Sundays, based on his book. And I had never watched the live show before. And basically his father died when he was 15. And this is a one-man, stage show where he talks about the fact that basically he had 700 Sundays with his father. before his father passed away, and it's the story of his life, and it's a lot of recycled Billy Crystal humor.
Oh.
Which, you know, I'm a big fan of Billy Crystal, and I've seen a lot of his acts before. So a lot of it I had seen him do before, a lot of the voices I had heard before. It's a very touching show, but, you know, it wasn't as hysterical because I had seen a lot of the bits before. But the other thing we watched last night was Violent Night.
Oh, wow.
And I don't
seasonal.
I don't know if you
so seasonal.
I didn't realize. I mean, I knew it was a movie where there was a violent Santa Claus, but I didn't recognize that it was actually a Christmas movie. And I don't know if you've had a chance to see this before. Home Alone meets Die Hard is what you're looking at here. It is charming and disturbing at the same time, and was just the movie I needed last night. You know, it is fun. It is gory. But it is a good time.
Is this why you were asking me how violent?
No, violent? I'm not going to recommend Violent Night.
Okay.
No, I've been debating about Deadpool, and so that's why. But
I actually haven't seen Deadpool yet, even though it's
I've never seen the first Deadpool.
I know.
But yeah, so I've been contemplating Deadpool as one of the choices. But no, not. I know Violent Night would be off of Stacey's radar. That's obviously not going to work.
I'd just say Merry Christmas. See you next year.
But I do think that if you can handle a little blood and guts, it's really quite enjoyable. It's shockingly, it's a shock. I don't know who the audience is besides myself, because it's got a lot of fun family moments interspersed between the violent killing and that happens throughout.
That's what you get when you have two directors. They just alternated.
So it is. I don't know. I don't know what other people's thoughts on Violent Night are. But I think this Christmas we'll be watching it again. We had a good time. Yeah. So there you go.
Okay, I'm a little torn here.
Uh-oh.
There's a couple movies. One I really wanted, and it looks like it's only available if you have Showtime.
Yeah.
Which nobody has.
Yeah. And that's Catch Me If You Can.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
We have it on DVD in the library system.
Oh, let's go to Stacey's house. We'll watch it there.
I've got two other movies. Then we'll get back to one I've seen. I've seen both of them, but one of them I like more than the other. I'm just not sure which one I want to go with. So I'll just say, should we just flip a coin?
Or you can ask people's opinions.
They're both on Netflix.
You can put it to a vote.
Okay.
You can ask people's opinions.
Okay. Up in the Air with George Clooney, where he plays a guy that's flying all the time.
Oh, yeah.
He goes around firing people. There's airplanes in it, Wade.
Yeah, and Anna Kendrick's in it, so we've seen that because Reagan watched it.
Yes, and I liked it because when I was flying to LA, when I first moved here in 2009, we've officially been here 14 years, by the way, as of September 1st. Well, and it's the longest house I've ever lived in. The movie,
house?
It's the longest house.
Why the long house?
Why the long house? He said to the horse.
Okay.
He said, so Up in the Air, and the other one is The Big Short.
Okay.
I think they're both going to do well. Adam's going to hate both of them. No, I don't think he will. But they're both on Netflix.
Yep. I've never seen either one of these movies.
Not really funny, per se.
No, shockingly, not going with the funny movies from Dan.
And no time travel.
No time travel.
No, but travel for sure.
Here's travel.
I mean, The Big Short is pretty, I mean, it's pretty deep. Like, you have to really pay attention.
Yeah. My mom recommended that one to me. My mom doesn't recommend movies very often, and that was one she recommended to me over and over again. Yeah, until I finally watched it.
It's kind of a documentary.
Yeah, in a way, yeah, and it's very math oriented, which is her thing. So
I vote for the other one.
Brian's like, I heard math. I want the other one.
I said the wrong thing. Sorry about that.
Mortgages and interest rates. Let's go for it.
There is a third one that is also on Netflix that I don't think we did this one. Fast Times at Ridgemont High. We didn't do that one, did we?
We did not do that one.
Gosh.
That's a bit of a change of gears from your other two movies.
I know.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Wow.
All right, so one of those three will be my final pick. I will take input from anybody, and I will take bribes as well.
Well, I think Fast Times.
I have not seen either The Big Short or Up in the Air. I've seen Fast Times.
I keep seeing clips of Up in the Air on TikTok. But I've never seen the movie.
I think it's telling you should be watching it.
It was an okay
I
movie.
don't know. Interesting. Up in the Air, 90 from the critics, 79 from the audience.
Oh.
Yeah, it was a little slow. But all that flying, you know.
To me, it was like a documentary on how to fly, like how to get through security fast, how to get bonus points.
Well,
Fast Times is the shortest.
Ironically.
Well, I feel like I've seen that, but I'm not sure.
That's what Mark Ratner said.
Oh, I've definitely seen Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Yeah,
there is nudity and sex and abortion in it.
But I've seen it already. So
yeah. There's the Phoebe Cates scene. Yeah.
Doesn't anybody knock?
Yeah.
Big Short.
Oh, Judge Reinhold.
Big Short gets the Kristen Bale.
Mr. Hand.
And don't forget Spicoli.
we had Spicoli Day in high school when I went to high school in Erie, and I didn't know what it was then. And everybody dressed like him. I'm like, what is that? I was there for a year, and they're like, you've never seen this? I'm like, no.
Amanda?
Yeah.
Any input?
I don't think I've seen any of them. I'm most intrigued by the Big Short, but I mean, any of them.
Big Short is a thinking person. I mean, you really got to think, and that's the one I was leaning towards first.
The Big Short also gets you Christian Bale, Steve Carell, Ryan Gosling, and Brad Pitt.
Steve Carell in a bad wig, I must add.
Yeah,
all of them in a bad wig.
Ooh la la!
All right, so I'm going to push Fast Times off of it for now.
Okay.
So now we're up in the air of The Big Short.
Or you just let Reagan decide. I'm sorry.
What are the Rotten Tomatoes scores? Just out of curiosity.
All right, Big Short, 89 and 88.
Okay.
Big Short, and as I said, more of a vast change for the other one.
Up in the Air.
Up in the Air was like I've lost it.
Okay.
It was 90 and 79.
It was like 90 and 70. Yeah, they're
okay. So not a huge gap, but a significant gap.
90 and 89 if you look at the critics.
90 and 80 is not that big a gap.
No. Well, I think it was 90 and 70. But yeah.
All right. I wish I had a coin to flip.
Or your wild card movie could be Cities Like This. No, I'm sorry.
I'm going to go with, Up in the Air kind of ends up being a little bit of romantic comedy. It's got a little bit of romance in it. And I think that Adam will absolutely just trash it.
I'm all for that one. The other one has math.
It's
this will require you to do math.
Yeah, it'll pause the movie. Now, solve this equation.
Oh, I would turn it off.
Get your remote and press A if you think it's this.
Okay, so we need to watch, what the Alan Turing movie,
Oh, Lord.
Dan, have you considered Superman?
Superman. The first one?
The Imitation Game. Yeah, we should watch The Imitation Game.
I thought we watched Superman.
I've seen that.
We've never watched Superman.
Wait, what?
No.
Can't
We
you read
haven't
my
done
mind,
Superman,
Dan? We've
no.
never watched Superman.
Oh, hold a minute. Hold the phone.
Sorry.
Can you tell what
Streaming on
With
Mac.
Margot, are you kidding me? She's supposed to be attractive.
Right?
I don't think we could score it very well, but I do love it.
Superman?
Yeah, I love Superman, but I don't think we'll score it very well because it's,
Well, it's better than the sequels.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. See, you guys screwed me up now. Why would you do that, Eric? I thought we watched Superman. Like my top movies in the world are.
We definitely
Superman,
never watched Superman.
Back to the Future, Somewhere in Time.
Not
Two
done
of the
a lot
three have Christopher
superhero
Reeve.
movies. Superman gets a 94 from the critics.
Whoa.
86 from the audience.
That's better.
Now I feel like Eric. I feel like you just picked the movie.
No, I did not. I had nothing to do with it.
Are you Howard the Ducking him?
I'm not ducking you. You have to duck yourself.
Oh,
And Dan just keeps shrinking now.
I know. I'm just like I just.
So for me, The Big Short is the only one I haven't seen. So.
No, stick with your two. I don't know.
All right, here's what I'm going to say.
together.
I'm going to pick The Big Short. That's our movie, but I'm going to recommend we all watch Superman.
Moneyball.
Oh.
It's a fake double feature.
It's a fake double feature. So next week, when What Else Are You Watching, we're going to talk about Superman.
We don't get to rate Superman.
No.
That's not fair.
All right, I'm going to go with The Big Short on Netflix.
The Big Short. Finally, that's been on my.
Moneyball's a great movie too.
That's the one my mom meant.
That's the one her mom meant.
Oh, that one's got math.
Yeah. That's...
oh, so this one doesn't have math.
This one doesn't have crazy math. This one is a lot about. It's about the mortgage industry and how it basically screwed our entire.
We watched A Beautiful Mind.
That's true.
That
I thought this
very
was
good.
about Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Moneyball doesn't have that much math.
I thought this was the Schwarzenegger DeVito movie.
The Big Short. It's not a rumor.
It's Twins too.
Junior.
Oh no, not Junior. or speaking of Billy Crystal, Rabbit Test.
Oh my God.
They're supposed to be doing the Twins 3, right? With Tracy Morgan as the other baby.
Yeah, I got canceled.
Yeah, he's here at the casino next week. The local
whoever gets
casino.
to pick next week, think about this one.
I to be honest, I'm probably not going to watch it because it'll probably come up on the wheel at some
I
point.
want to let it come up on the wheel.
Yeah.
I want to wait because I think
I've always thought we watched Superman. I could have sworn we watched Superman.
Nope.
I would be up for watching Superman though.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen it.
Mandela.
Seriously,
It's enjoyable.
I'm shocked that was never one of your choices.
I am too.
I know.
You picked THX 1138 instead of Superman.
Well, because no one else was going to pick that one, but someone else might pick.
That's back when I would pick things I haven't seen that I would like to see. I'm not doing that anymore.
Yeah.
That did not play out so well.
I'm only picking movies I like.
How about Time Cop? You could have chosen.
I love Time Cop.
Yes.
Jean-Claude Van Damme. Oh my!
I had a Time Cop.
They were definitely doing Time Cop.
When I worked on Sudden Death with Van Damme, they gave away Time Cop hats, and that's the movie that was out at the time. Same director.
Oh man!
I used to have a Time Cop hat. I have no idea what I did with it.
I would watch that movie too.
We could watch Loopers. I mean, there's some really interesting time travel movies we haven't watched yet.
Oh yeah, we got work to do.
Yeah.
All right, so it is The
I've
Big
seen
Short.
Looper.
Oh, it's The Big Short. The important thing is that it's The Big Short. Does anybody want to talk about anything else that they've watched this week?
I just want to say one thing. If you fall asleep watching Paramount Plus, it does not shut off like Netflix. It keeps playing. And I fell asleep watching The Twilight Zone, the original. Holy crap, does that make you have ridiculous dreams?
Yeah.
I had some of the most crazy dreams.
I dreamed William Shatner was in my dream on a plane.
It was so bad. I did see a clip of William Shatner on the $6 Million Man. Holy moly. He was like full. We're like two superhumans with your strength in my mind. And his toupee was horrible.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find a clip of that.
I have been watching some episodes of Columbo to try to assemble a proper list for people.
Okay.
One thing I'll just say up front is limit yourself to seasons 1 through 7. Don't worry about the latter seasons on ABC. They weren't bad, but they're not the prime of Columbo. It was a 10-year gap.
Agreed.
Falk was 10 years older. The writing was not as good in general.
Yeah.
So just limit yourself to the first 7 seasons. One episode I know I'm going to put out there is A Stitch in Crime, which is the Leonard Nimoy episode. And I might also, just for fun, also put the William Shatner episode on the list. So.
Look at that.
You gotta fight for
Oh, that is a bad toupee. Wow.
Tell me that's not. I mean, he didn't.
Oh, that's definitely a toupee.
Yeah. Lee Majors almost looks like a toupee.
His looks like it's been very carefully crafted, but it looks like hair.
And look at the chest hair.
He was wearing one on Big Valley.
Really?
Yeah.
If it is a toupee, it's a much better one than Shatner's.
Yeah, I've heard that many times that he was wearing a toupee in the Big Valley.
I heard Farrah was wearing one.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe. We watched Air.
Oh, where'd you think of that?
That
That
was
was on my watch list.
Yeah, we happened across that, and so we watched it. And
Did you like
We
that?
just watched Red and Red 2,
Yeah.
which was really good. I was surprised.
those both.
I liked Red. Red 2 I didn't really.
Well, yeah, it was just a little take.
They were okay. They're just dumb action movies. So as
Well,
long as
yeah,
that's what you like, and then they're good. But
It was watchable.
you know, Red and The Expendables are both sort of just that Lots of stars in big action movie genre.
It was fun watching Helen Mirren being an assassin. That was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
She's awesome.
I kill people.
Farmer's only daughter. That's a Kiss song.
kills people?
I'm trying to think. Oh, I went to see Barbie with Reagan.
Oh,
Yeah.
Did you like it?
I didn't hate it. Yeah. So.
Okay. Which is not what I asked, but okay.
I know, but it's an answer. I did like it, actually. I liked it better than I expected to. It had more body to it than you'd expect. You know.
And Ryan Gosling is a lot of fun in it.
I cannot stand Ryan Gosling.
Really?
He's fine as an actor, but I didn't like him as Ken. His hair was too gross. I'm like, this is not Ken.
He's a cheap Ryan Reynolds.
He's Beach Ken.
He's an older Ken that's had his hair thoroughly played with and styled many times.
Yeah, Beach Ken has rough hair.
I just didn't like. I didn't like the Ken. I had a bad. It was creepy, but I did love, because as a girl who grew up with Barbies, there were things that made me laugh, like Barbie coming out of her house. And I said, yes, that's how she travels down the steps. There aren't any. I had an elevator, though. I did have a Barbie dream house with an elevator.
Oh, fancy.
And Kate McKinnon as weird Barbie was fun.
That is very
good.
She looked a little old to be a Barbie, but it worked because she was weird Barbie, who has been around a long time.
Yes, who's had her hair cut and styled and ripped out and all of her parts torn off and reattached, and
She was fabulous. I loved that. But I was talking to my mom about the drifting Barbie, and she's like, "I saw that. That's perfect." She saw that on the trailer. And just that little bit of nostalgia and remembering how I played with Barbies, and it was good that way too. But I did think that the story, it had some meat to it. It was good.
I think it's my favorite movie of the year. That's my movie of the year is Barbie.
I would put Dungeons and Dragons ahead of it, but I enjoyed them both.
Oh no.
Yeah.
The only movie I might put in front of it is Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Is the only one that
I still haven't seen that. I'm sad.
Because it is.
We see Across the Spider-Verse. We have not seen that.
It's marvelous.
It is very
I hope so. I can't wait to see it.
It's really well done. But again, might be a better theater experience. I'm not sure if at home for the first time.
I think it's long gone.
Yeah.
I think it's
It'll be back.
coming to streaming.
Excellent. Anybody else? Anything else?
I don't know.
So next week, September 11th, Monday, we will be here once again. And thank you for spending your Labor Day with us.
We could have picked a 9/11 theme movie, but we didn't.
What do you mean we?
I'm talking about all the voices in my head. There's only one, I think, so far, maybe two.
I don't even know any 9/11.
Flight 93.
Yeah.
I probably specifically didn't watch any that came out.
How many are there, Reagan? Name some more. World
Probably
Trade
not
Center.
something I would want to watch, to be honest.
No, I don't watch that.
Good.
Yeah.
Watching movies of real life disasters where many people died is not my idea of a way to spend a week.
I just don't even want. You saw it.
Maybe if it's long enough ago and you can watch a movie about the Hindenburg. But sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Brian.
I was just. We watched it on the news enough when it happened.
Yeah, pretty much.
We could be in really bad taste. We could watch The Towering Inferno. No, I'm sorry. That's really the only thing I could think of.
We haven't watched any disaster movies. I mean, you remember the 70s had the Poseidon Adventure, Earthquake, Airplane, or Airport, excuse me, Airport
77,
Towering
Airport
Inferno,
78, Airport 79.
Irwin Allen was all over the place, just making disaster after disaster.
The only one I saw out of those ones that you mentioned was the Poseidon Adventure. Yeah.
Oh, I still remember the Mad Magazine spoof of it too. It was the Poop Side Down Adventure.
Yeah, they remade that one at some point. I remember that.
Why? Why would you remake the Poseidon Adventure?
That's Pet Cemetery. Why would the first one wasn't that good? Why would you try to do that?
Yeah, I do wonder sometimes why Hollywood does some of the remakes they do. Like I was flipping through some stuff and I happened across the remake of RoboCop and I'm like, what? I forgot they remade RoboCop. Why would you remake RoboCop?
Yeah, I forgot that too.
Oh, it's bad. It's so bad. But we watched everything. You know. Oh man.
Well, happy Labor Day, all.
Yes, enjoy your Labor Day. Thank you for joining us, and we will be back next Monday. Big Short.
Cool.
Big
And
Short.
we'll make it a short show.
Oh, but it'll be a big short show.
Big short show.
Absolutely.
It's a 2-hour and 10-minute movie, so
It is rated
No
R,
math.
2015.
Well, there might
It's
be a
a
little.
group of wily opportunists make a fortune off the U.S. economic crash by sniffing out the situation in advance and betting against the banks.
So trading spaces.
It is a little bit like trading places.
It's a little like trading
yeah,
places.
Where
it's
you-
short
at the end,
trading.
you have to
It's
go,
going.
Wait, Orange
There-
Juice did what?
Oranges, yeah.
There are investors that have made entire careers out of trying to short, short on Tesla, for example, and always assuming that their next quarter they're going to tank. And so a lot of them have lost their shirts because Tesla's generally kept doing well.
No, they've lost their shorts.
There you go.
Oh my.
And Tesla, by the way, just lowered the price of the biggest SUV by $40,000. So, because they want to make it cheap enough to qualify for the $7,500. We don't have Clutch Radio. I have to talk about this somewhere. To qualify for the $7,500 tax credit. So they dropped the price down. There we go. That way all right.
Dan's car of the week. The new
Is the Tesla Model.
How much is gas where you live?
So they dropped the price. So if you bought one a week ago, it was $120,000, and today it's $80,000.
Wow.
And you don't get the 40 grand back if you already
that'd be
bought
so.
it.
That's
And-
right.
Well,
That's
and even the
terrible.
people who bought it a year ago just saw their residual value drop precipitously.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you try to buy a used one right now, all the dealers that have them on their lot,
Who paid dearly for them.
yeah, they probably paid 75, 80 grand for a 3-year-old one. Now you can go buy a brand new one for less.
Yep.
And really,
That's terrible.
Teslas are technology; they're not cars. That's why they look the same it's like a TV. They should get cheaper every year.
Yeah.
Moore's law should kick in. It should be twice as fast and half.
Well,
the
it's
price.
it's bad. The battery is still the biggest chunk of change in a Tesla, and so unless the battery prices continue to drop, that's the key.
Well, Toyota
They are
just-
such an amazingly automated manufacturer. There is the amount of actual man hours that goes into building a Tesla is probably an order of magnitude less than almost any other car maker.
Well, electric cars only have about 20 moving parts compared to 2,000 on a traditional car. So that's
I remember there was a
also-
teardown. BMW bought a Tesla about 2 or 3 years ago and did a complete teardown of it just to see, okay, what are they doing? And they were just gobsmacked by some of the things they did. For example, the typical BMW had like 1,000 different fasteners, different size screws and things. And I think Tesla had 20. They make sure they use the same fasteners and the same size screws for every place they can to cut down on manufacturing costs.
Yep. All right. Well, that's it for Clutch Radio. All right. Oh, Stacey and Wade fell for it.
Wow, they did. They're like, all right, we're done. We're out. Wow.
that was radical.
Wow.
It's a good thing.
Like, wow.
Let's go to this show. Right.
This is where the best stuff lives.
Oh, there's a lot of good stuff in here.
There is. There's a lot of good stuff in here, including Dan's wonderful.
That never gets old.
No, it doesn't actually.
Well, then the time that Dan took the screenshot when Wade and Stacy both left the room and made that his background.
Yep.
I think I still have that as a background. Hold on a second.
Whoa. What?
There you go.
There we go.
We're still here.
Like
I don't remember this one, Eric.
Hey, Dan, go get Stacy for us.
This name drop is sponsored in part by that friend that won't stop sending you jokes over email. Come on, Tiffany, give us a break already.
Oh, that one. Okay, now I remember.
Not all winners. Let's just say up front, they're not all winners. You don't hit aglets every time.
No.
Or the EriDan.
Sometimes.
Look, here's our original opening.
That was your original.
Yeah,
So basically, a stock video with words on it.
I had nothing to do with that.
And then Eric created, I think.
Whoa.
You're watching ENN.
That was just stock footage, right?
Then we have this, of course.
Strange news, baby, strange news. Strange news, baby, strange news. Strange news, baby. Yes, it is now time for some strange news.
I missed the discussion of strange news.
I know.
Well, you're looking more like Paul Schaefer every year, Eric. So.
Oh, it is. That's what I've been looking at. I'm working as my Paul Schaefer. It's wild.
We should sometime, not necessarily this month or next, but sometime before the end of the year, we should have another game night.
I would love it.
Yes. I concur.
Or a watch party too. That was fun. I liked it.
Just watch Cats again. You can do.
Yeah, sure.
Same thing.
No,
not the movie, just Cats. We'll
Yeah.
just find YouTube videos of cats.
Oh, I like this idea.
Wasn't there like a little bit of a discussion about Starship Troopers or something?
I think that was floated. Yeah.
I would do that. That'd be hilarious.
As the only guy here who's read the book, it would be interesting.
Oh, it's quite the movie.
I thought it was Super Troopers.
It is Super Troopers, actually. I think so. No,
it was Starship Troopers we were talking about because I made the comment about Doogie Himmler.
Did we watch that movie?
We did not. Dan, are you even paying attention?
Do you have any memory whatsoever, Dan?
Oh, we watched Star Quest.
Galaxy Quest.
Galaxy Quest.
That's right.
Galaxy Quest.
We have not yet.
We watched Star Trek. We watched Galaxy Quest. We watched Spaceballs.
Mix them together.
Oh.
And Adam gives it a 12. Well, Adam did comment on the show.
Okay.
But he did not show up. So does that count as him?
He gave a score.
Yeah.
I'll give him a space.
All right.
He gets an extra space. Stacy said that their internet went out.
Oh. Weirdly.
At that exact moment.
That's impressive.
Ironic timing.
Yeah.
The moment you started.
Oh, sorry. You're breaking up.
Yeah.
It was kind of like that. It was one of those.
All right.
Just like Tom Cruise when the Admiral's trying to talk him down.
Just straight from a Billy Crystal routine.
I know. It was. I was a little generous with my 65, but it was okay.
All right. We're still on. We should end the show now. I feel like we're doing the post-show talk, even though we never ended the show.
That's sort of what happened. We just sort of drifted into post-show talk. Yeah.
Play the exit music. All right, let's get out of here. We will see you all next week. Big Short. See you then. Bye.
In case I don't see ya, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.